Hello, and welcome to Insurance Answers 101, where we address common insurance questions with easy to understand answers. In the last video we did, I talked about insurance rates and how they're determined and explained it to give a little better understanding that there's a lot more to it than just how many accidents or claims or tickets you've had in the last couple of years. If you want to get a recap of that video, you can go back and watch it on this YouTube channel, get caught up. But I broke it down into a couple different categories: individual rating, group rating, even condition of the company, insurance company rating. But today I want to go a little bit further and just cover a couple more examples of some of the factors that do affect your rates, especially in the individual or personal rating category. Again, a lot of the common ones that people think about is if they've had a claim or a ticket in the last certain amount of time, and that does play a big factor. But there are also some other ones that you may not think about or know about, and this video I'm going to explain that and let you know that these also affect your rates. So a couple more that are probably even still pretty obvious is obviously your make, model of the vehicle you drive, especially when dealing with auto insurance. Obviously, if you have a new luxury car, it's going to cost more to insure. It's going to affect your rating. I think a lot of times people go out and shop for a new car and they figure out what their budget's going to be, figure out if they can afford the car payments on this car, but then forget to think about how's my insurance going to change once I buy this new car. They buy the car and then call to switch their vehicle on their insurance policy and find out that it's a lot more than what they're paying for their old vehicle. So good idea if you're out shopping for a car. You might want to call your agent once you've narrowed it down to the car you're looking at. Find out what it's going to cost you to insure that vehicle, because really, if you can't afford the insurance for it, then you really can't afford the vehicle. So that's one thing: the make, model of the vehicle. Another factor that factors in is credit, the credit of the individual. If you have good credit, you're going to get rated better. If you have bad credit, it's going to affect your rate in a negative way. Some people are familiar with that or know that. A lot of people do not. Also, your payment history sometimes with a specific insurer. A lot of people tend to think, well, my due date is on this date every month, say the 15th, but I have a grace period of 7 to 10 days after the 15th. So as long as I send my payment in by the 20th, I'm good. My policy's not going to cancel, which technically you're right. Your policy may not cancel, but when you get a renewal coming up for the next term, if you have a high frequency of cancellation letters that have been sent out that are warning you that your policy is going to cancel due to late payment, that will affect your future renewal rates in a lot of situations. So a lot of people aren't aware of that either. They just think they're good to go even though they pay late every month. Age is a factor. Gender, whether you're male or female, is a factor. Even whether you're married or single can be a factor. There are many, many factors, and every insurance company has some of their own factors that they use. Although a lot of them are all pretty much the same, there may be a couple that differ from company to company. That's what kind of sets the companies apart. And the way that certain factors are rated per company may be a little bit of a difference from company to company. So let's say company A may rate you, if you have a previous claim on your insurance, company A may give you a negative rating by, say, a certain amount of points, whereas company B may give you a negative rating by not as many points as company A. But company B may give you a lesser rating for maybe a speeding ticket, whereas company A won't give you as less of a rating. So they're all different. They all have their own formulas and calculations, the way they determine their factors of rating. So that's why when you call around to get quotes, sometimes the quotes you receive may be dramatically different from company to company. And that's also why if you have an acquaintance who says, "Here, call my guy. He got me a great deal through this insurance company." But you might call his agent and he might give you a quote that's not very good at all. But you might have called somewhere else and they gave you a great quote. And the same friend may have called that place and they didn't give him a good quote. There's so many possibilities that the way these factors can kind of add up and be calculated, and they all have their own formulas. That's why it can vary greatly from person to person, and it's never quite the same. So you can't just depend on one insurance company always gives a good rate versus this one, because it's not that cut and dry. It all depends on those factors and the way their formulas work to calculate those factors to determine the rate for every individual who is looking for a policy. Anyway, I hope that pretty much gives you a much better understanding between this video and the previous video. If you watch them both, it should give you a clearer understanding of how these rates are determined. The main reason I wanted to do a video on this particular topic is because I see a lot of comments on social media posts having to do with insurance, and whenever I read through them, I just see that it's clear based on a lot of comments that a lot of people really don't have a full understanding of how these insurance rates are determined. They tend to think sometimes it's just based on a few simple factors, and that is definitely not the case. So if this helped, please like and subscribe to this channel. You can always use this channel as a reference guide for all your insurance questions and needs, and we'll see you next time. Thank you. Oh, one more thing before I go. I just want to make a comment to let everyone know that while some of these factors may seem unfair for one reason or another, these factors aren't just determined randomly out of the blue. They're all based on years of established evidence and data and research to support why these factors are put in place the way they are. So if certain factors might not seem, fair to you, there's a reason for them, and they're all based on established data and evidence. Anyway, thank you. We'll see you next time.